Hello. Welcome to another episode. It's your boy Tobani. My voice is slow. I'm going to tell you at the end why I'm speaking slow. Today, I am going to talk about post-date inspection and what are the common things that you can expect and how can you prepare yourself better to pass a post-date inspection. So first of all, you're a third officer or you're a junior officer. You are responsible for the life-saving appliances and the firefighting equipment. That means the paperwork, the maintenance, and everything about those things fall under you. So the post-date inspector may, of course, they're gonna come on board, post-date inspection. They have various things to check for security when they come up on the gangway. If it's your watch, I would advise that do not expect everyone or your duty gangway that they know what to do. Depending on a ship, of course, some ships they have a good security arrangement, but make sure you brief the guys yourself. Make sure you personally go there, just warn the guys, okay guys, this is going to happen. Please avoid 1, 2, 3, 4. Physically check yourself the gangway on your watch, because this is a first impression. These guys will come on board and the first thing they're going to see is how is the rigging of the gangway. Is it covering the whole ladder and the ship, the angle? Is there notices on the gangway, security notice? Is there a lifebuoy nearby? Usually there will be lifebuoy and light nearby, with lifebuoy with light and line. So during your watch, you must be aware of these things, just so that you make your job easier when these guys come. So, and then they come on board, and then this guy must be able to ask them for their identification. And then they'll say, okay, post date. As far as I remember, it's not wrong to ask the identification of a post date, because anybody could say, I am coming on board your ship, I am a post date. But what I know is you're not supposed to search their luggage. This is something that I know. You can ask their identification. You can ask them to identify themselves, but you are not supposed to go on and check their luggage. So then this guy must be able to check their identity, and then he will report to you, post date on board, blah, blah, blah. And then you come to escort them to ship's office, and then they start with the master to check the identification, the certificates and everything. So there's nothing of a big deal. If those two things are done great, then the job should be easier. They finish with master, probably they'll go with chief mate on deck, and then they go with you, or they go together with you and chief mate to check on deck. What they will need from you is training record. Maybe while they are still dealing with master in the ship's office, they may ask you to bring your training records, your training drills on the logbook, and also your training plan to show that you had a plan and you are following it. So what is essential on that? Okay, I'll talk about this company's experience, my experience in this company. So what I've seen. So we will have drill entries, right? And then you'll have also scenarios where you wrote the drill scenarios, what happened. For example, in case of fire, general alarm was sounded, crew, master, they bring the equipment, check the equipment, and then they go fight the fire. And then it was extinguished, it was not extinguished, and then they go to abandon the ship, blah, blah, blah. That scenario. It's important to have small details included there, starting off the fire pump, and also state that the crew, they usually want to see that the crew was trained how to start the fire pump, where to start the fire pump, something about the training of the crew, about starting fire pump locations. It's also nice to write the times on your scenarios, okay, 10:20 the alarm was sounded, and then you say maybe depending on what time you are using or you are carrying out the drill, and maybe you say maybe 5 minutes later the crew was ready to the firefighting team was standing by to with the equipment check, BA pressure locked, the timings are crucial, or they are important, or they make a good impression. This is what I mean. And at the end of your drills, you must have, they like to see the debriefing, This is like a standard. I think every PSC would like to see that. The debriefing, that what went wrong, when did you discuss? So towards the end of the drills, you must have that debriefing. They will want to see that on your drill scenarios, at the end of your drill scenarios. So I think that is that about drills. Obviously, the photos will be in the computer if they like to see, but usually I've never had an issue where they want to see the photos because they don't trust what I wrote down, So those are the points. And if the drill was not carried out, or if like the launching of the lifeboat or rescue boat was not carried out, they will just want to see the logging on the logbook that it was not carried out because maybe in port so and so the permission was not given. So that is usually enough. So that is about drills. And another log that you are maintaining, of course, is about inspection, like your monthly inspection of equipment. So what I have here, I will have like inventory of all my life-saving and firefighting equipment in one document, right? And when you go to each physical locker or to each local station, and then you will find that inventory outside. And what is outside that? For example, let's say I go to my safety locker 1, I will have a separate inventory for that locker. And then I'll put the inventory somewhere when you enter the locker. So when I go with them, they can see the inventory. And it's important that what you have on that inventory is exactly what you have inside. Okay, so that is also important. But having inventory on each locker, it's a good impression. It's easy for you when you are checking monthly to see if you have that equipment there or you don't. When, for example, if I'm looking for coupling to replace, to make new fire hoses, I can just go to the locker and see if I actually have couplings instead of looking around trying to find these things. So that is that. They will see your inventory. You must have track of your expiry dates written there. So I think that is that about inventory. That is that about paperwork for a third mate. Certificates, expiry certificates of annual service and all that. Usually captain will take care of that because he's keeping the file. So you don't need to worry about that, but you need to know just what's happening with your equipment. After that, probably after they've checked those two things, they will then take you to go on deck. Okay, so usually maybe you'll start on the bridge. They will ask you questions as well related to the bridge. They will ask you questions like show your actives. How do you set up safety settings like safety controls, deep water, all those are important actives fixtures. How do you do them? When do you see the last week of an update? Maybe when do you see, where do you see the software version? These are just basic questions that I'm saying that are coming into mind. So they will ask you those things. So you must be aware. Don't just leave everything to second mate, because maybe they'll come on your watch and second mate will be sleeping, and it's going to take time for her to like take over or come to the bridge. So some of the things you must like prepare, be familiar with the environment on the bridge. So, and then they check then your life-saving equipment that you have on the bridge. You have there, let's say, your pyrotechnics. Also, it would be nice to have an inventory there of what you have, that is available, that is safety items. So your immersion suit, your life jacket, they will take the immersion suit and say, open it. You put it on the floor. So make sure it's like the immersion suit that you have there is like waxed, is good, and the zip is always like open. because it must be always ready to wear. Okay. And maybe it will happen that you have 4 officers on the bridge. In our case, we have captain, chief mate, second mate, third mate, and then junior officer. So, but on the bridge, I only have like 3. Do I have 3? I only have 3 imagine suits, right? So they will ask maybe, so what happens when you have more people on the bridge? So the answer is, these guys who are coming on the bridge, the extra guys, they will bring their immersion suits and their life jackets with them. That's the answer that you will give if they ask you something like that, or if they try to give you a trouble about that. So that is what you'll say. So you check this immersion suits, and after that you should be done with your immersion suits and what other things that you have on the bridge. Maybe your EEBD, which is no big deal. Your fire extinguishers, they should be fine. The inspection date should be fine for all of your fire extinguishers. But I'll come back to that later. And then you go outside on your life buoys, or men overboard life buoys. The line, what is important there is the grab line is connected correctly. Okay, I've also done it before where I just connected it and I didn't check how it's gonna go out. So make sure that the grab line is connected to the life buoy and then to the lights, directly there. Don't connect it to, maybe take this grab line and connect it to the other line of the life buoy. It must go directly there. So that is something to check. And obviously you will check that this life buoy is in good condition, because it's up there. They definitely gonna check it. It can release. Nothing is rusted there. Just be aware of how this thing is operating. So after that, obviously they will check the fire hoses, right? While they are on the bridge, they will ask you to connect fire hoses, usually 2 fire hoses on the bridge, 1 forward and then 2 on the main deck, close to accommodation. So that is usually the arrangement, depending on where you are, of course. So I would advise in these areas to have strong fire hoses that give good impression. Okay, even your fire hydrants there, they must be good. Okay, because this is all that you have, and usually they check that, and if everything is well there, consider the whole thing done. Consider this, what they will just check. Maybe they'll go on deck with you and chief mate, maybe to open some fireboxes to check, and then they'll obviously your fire extinguishers, your inspection dates again, because if they find you did not check any of they don't have the signing. If you are signing your fire extinguishers, that's a deficiency. So yeah, that is something to keep in order. And then they will go around on deck, maybe check paint store and bosun store. You have your equipment there, the sprinkler system that you are managing with chief mate, and then your embarkation ladders. Okay, I'm gonna come to the rescue boat life buoy later. Now I'm talking about the forward station, where you have your 1 life raft there, and then you have the emergency lights. For that life raft, you must make sure they are working. Electrician is there, but you must also operate them, make sure they are working, and the embarkation ladder must be in good condition, the instructions, everything. Now let's go to the lifeboat and rescue boat. So you are going to the lifeboat, obviously. Probably on the lifeboat you will go alone. Maybe that engineer will not be there, so you are taking this inspector. He's going to check the lifeboat outside. Is the instructions there? Lights, emergency lights, are they marked? So she's gonna check that, and you go inside the lifeboat. Usually I've never had an issue where somebody asked me seating arrangement. Sometimes I would have sitting arrangement, but on the ship I don't have it because people will just sit anywhere except for the coxswain, number 2 chair coxswain, which is for chief mate, and number 4, which is for me because I need to operate the emergency release. So when you enter this lifeboat, you would have checked already what's happening, of course. So obviously you have your crew list, you have your inventory there, it's in order. You must know how to start the lifeboat. You must know how to, it's gonna ask you to start the lifeboat. You must know how to start it, and you alone should know your equipment of where it is, because it's gonna ask you to show them the pyrotechnics. Show us it's gonna just ask some equipment. Usually pyrotechnics, anti-seasick tablets, and all these equipment with expiry dates, just to check them. So make sure you are familiar with the area around that. And I would advise that you also check the engine compartment, because sometimes engineers, they just mess around there with oil and they never clean. And sometimes you'll find like water collecting there, like bilge water, and it's not cleaned, So make sure you check. Open oil compartment, check it's clean, check there's no like bilge water there, and just be familiar with your instruction. Make sure like you refresh your markings, everything is well, and the lights are working, the battery, the cable is connected. And outside, the hook, there is this hook that connects the slings when you are using secondary means to launch the lifeboat. Make sure those they have the snapback thing, when you press them, they come back by themselves. Of course you would have greased the whole area, and the instruction on the master station would have been visible, and I'm not going to talk about that. Now we are going to the rescue boat. What are we going to check on the rescue boat? Okay, rescue boat is quite nothing major. Obviously that engineer will probably come and start the rescue boat, but you should also know how to start it. The operation of David, the instructions must be there, the accumulator must be charged. Make sure your embarkation ladder also is okay, the life rafts are okay, instructions are there, the painter line is there, and the HRU is connected correctly, and then the painter line is connected correctly to the HRU unit. The shackles are greased, everything, normal stuff. So obviously there's nothing major on the rescue boat. You must make sure that all the forward painter, you'll have a forward painter. The forward painter is connected to that eye is connected to the rescue boat. It must always be connected. And you will have this release mechanism. I don't know if you are using ratchet or whatever. Sorry. If you are using ratchet, make sure your ratchets operate, they are not rusted. That's also give a good impression. So that is about rescue boat. And frankly, guys, there is nothing major about those two things, as long as it's visually appealing, it's looking good, it's shining when you arrive to the scene. And the David, what I normally see, the David, it is also it would be nice to have a clean David, so do what you can do to make sure the painting is okay on the David. The instructions are there. So that is about it from me about post-state inspection. Hi guys, we have reached the end of today's episode. Thank you guys for listening this far. And I want to emphasize something about the rescue boat painter line, the forward painter line of the rescue boat. So this painter line must be of a quick release method. So you don't need to use a shackle there. If you have a shackle, remove it. Guys, if you have any question, you know how to reach me. Tobani Stole on all platforms, social media platforms, or at the Voice Space 1 on Instagram and at Tobani_S on Instagram. Once again, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Toodles!